Pizza can be a lot of things. That's what makes it so great. It can be lunch, dinner, and if your life's really on track, breakfast. But in recent years, people have tried to make pizza one more thing. Pretentious. Yeah, people have been racking their brains on how to fancy up pizza. Putting truffles on the pizza is an easy way to jack up the price tag. But that's so played out now? They're sprinkling truffles on french fries. Some maniacs are putting squid ink into the pizza dough and making the pizza look like a Burger King Halloween Whopper. Not what I'd call fancy. And speaking of fancy, I've even seen a pizza gilded in gold flakes before. King Midas meets Little Caesar. And I'm curious, how does the FDA regulate gold flakes? I guess after all the microplastics, they don't care anymore. Sure, gold's fine. You know what? Throw some silver in there too. Diversify your gut's portfolio. In fact, I hear if you're Jeff Bezos, gold is an essential nutrient, like iron. But a more reasonable way to class up your pizza, other than those things, I think is to add a little bit of steak to it. See, steak is like the Roger Moore of meats. Class up the ass. Hell, before Texas Roadhouse came around, a steak dinner was one that you had to dress up for. You had to have at least one button on your shirt. Now the trick to steak toppings is we gotta do this artfully, with tact, class, and dignity. Today, folks, we're swinging for the fences. And just to be safe, we're gonna try steak 4 different ways on pizza, and we'll decide which one will finally get us the respect and social status we so desperately deserve. Alright, we're gonna start with a New York strip pizza. A New York strip, New York pizza. We'll take a lovely cut of New York strip, salt and pepper it, and then we'll heat up a pan. Keep in mind we don't want to overcook this steak. It's going on a pizza after all. So we'll just give it a quick sear on both sides to give it a crust and a nice flavor. We'll just cook it in the pan for a little bit and then let it sit. In the meantime, and by meantime I mean hours before, we're going to make a nice garlic oil for our base. We're just going to take some oil and simmer some garlic in it for a few minutes. And that's our sauce. Simple, but elegant. Okay, let's start assembling our pizza now. What we have here is a Neapolitan style dough, made with 1.5 cups of flour, a half cup of water, and a 1/4 teaspoon of yeast, approximately. If for some reason you're following along at home, store-bought dough is okay too. And the best way to stretch out this dough is just right on the counter with a little bit of flour, moving it in small circles, like you're a really vigorous DJ or a bad masseuse. Now that our dough is stretched, we'll add our garlic oil. Spread it out nicely and we'll shred on a thin layer of mozzarella, good old mozzarella. And I think what will go nice with this steak is some buttery caramelized onions I'm gonna whip up real quick. And by quick, I mean really too quick. In our case, these look like dead cockroaches. They look like if you mixed all the creepy crawler colors together. These are onions that sinned too much. Onions that went to hell. Creepy crawlers! It's fine. I'm sure it'll be okay. Halloween was not that long ago, so passes the vibe check. We'll throw that on. Off to a great start. And now it's time for our steak. Let's slice our New York strip nice and thin. Look at that. And then we'll arrange those slices onto the pizza in a ritualistic circle, like Stonehenge. Alright, now let's cook it. When it comes to pizza, folks, I like to cook mine on a pizza stone in an oven that's at 550 degrees. But hey, that's just me. I like my pizza cooked in a hot oven. For this pizza, we'll wait until the cheese melts and the crust gets a nice golden brown. And then we'll take it out and plop it right onto the counter. Well, remember that nice medium rare steak we had? That's gone, but it's okay. We can still make this fancy. We'll just drizzle some balsamic fig glaze on top. That makes everything fancy. You remember Tim Curry's character from Fern Gully? The one that was wrapping his lips around exhaust pipes, sucking out the fumes?
Delicious.
This is him in pizza form. I shouldn't have talked about the squid ink pizza. Look at this thing. This pizza isn't quite visually appealing. Okay, I guess we should try it. You know, it's not bad. The steak may be a bit overcooked, but it still tastes good. And those caramelized onions, as we call them, just taste like really buttery grilled onions. All I gotta say is it's all really buttery and kinda one note and not really inspired. Doesn't quite say fancy, it almost says the opposite. What we need to do is really up the ante. Shoot for the stars. I'm talking bow tie fancy here. Now, I don't know this from experience, but I can tell you that fancy people love beef Wellington. Hell, it's named like a butler. Get in here, beef Wellington. Clean this up. And I've never had one before, or ever made one, but I did Google it. And here's what beef Wellington is. It's beef tenderloin, seared, and then wrapped in prosciutto, chopped mushrooms, and puff pastry. Seems simple enough. I don't know what's hard about that. Now, I don't have any puff pastry, but I'll tell you what I do got. A lot of pizza dough. And I figure, if we're gonna do this, we gotta stuff the beef Wellington into the crust, right? It only makes sense. With all the stuff we've put in a crust on this show, can't be that hard. We'll start with this gigantic beef tenderloin here and trim it up. Looks like a dead anaconda. Looks like a brontosaurus's Adam's apple. Let's dissect it like a frog. I didn't know I was gonna become a butcher for this video, but here we are. Time to trim the fat. I'm just trying to make a shape out of this. I've made a Play-Doh snake before, but never a meat snake. What we want from this tenderloin is thinner strips that we can slide into the crust like a toilet snake. And I think this is a ticket right here. Now we need to sear the outside of this thing. Didn't think this part through. We're gonna have to do this in halves. This half first, making sure to sear both sides. Now this half will slither out and this half will slither in. Harry Potter, Draco Malfoy. None of this can be right. If alarms aren't going off in your head right now, then either you've never made beef Wellington either, or you don't know just how ignorant I truly am. Okay, looks like entrails. That's fine. Now, apparently, we need to brush it in mustard, because that's what Google said to do. And next, we need to make a mushroom crust for this. We'll start by chopping up some shallots, like this. In this method I learned from ehow.com, and then we'll take a bunch of mushrooms and chop those up too. Looney Tunes style. Hassan chop! Feel like a maniac doing this. You want to get nice and even pieces. This is what separates the home cooks from those who have truly lost touch with reality. Speaking of which, we've chopped up a lot on this channel. I've put this knife through a lot of shenanigans, and it's still slicing. In fact, I've been using a Meeson knife for a while to prep ingredients, slice and dice, and create culinary chaos. And it turns out HelloFresh is offering a Meeson 2.0 knife when you sign up with HelloFresh. It comes free with your third box, and on top of that, you get 10 free meals, and your first box ships for free. Meeson knives can cut through steak over here, steak over there, and this steak right here, which I got from HelloFresh. One of the mini meals that they offer is a steak and blue cheese pizza. Isn't that convenient? Well, it gets even more convenient because they ship these meals straight to your door. Follow the link below or this QR code right here, and don't forget to use code TrevorHF when you sign up. Okay, everything's chopped now. What we are making here is what's called a mushroom duxelles. We gotta cook these mushrooms to get all the moisture out of them and add a little bit of flavor. So I got an idea here. I'm just gonna toss in some butter, beef stock, and red wine and let that all cook down for like an hour. I think what we got here is pretty close. I don't want another caramelized onion situation. So we'll take it off the heat now and assemble the pizza. We're gonna start with an extra large ball of dough. Stretch it out like this. It's like Andre the Giant's blankie. This thing's so big. Look at how big this dough is. And now we'll throw down the prosciutto in a big circle. I gotta tell you, these ingredients are pretty random. Who the hell came up with this? Next step is to spread the mushroom mixture around on top of the prosciutto like this. I think that the mushroom duxelles is kind of like the paste for this whole thing, holding it together. Looks like paste, all right. Paste of the damned. Now we'll gently lay down this hog of beef tenderloin and wrap it up. This meat snake is getting ready to hibernate in the crust of this pizza. You'll notice it makes a perfect circle, as we planned. For the sauce, I think that we should try to make something fancy. We'll take that pan and make a beef stock reduction out of it. Make a luscious sauce. And then we'll shred on some mozzarella cheese. And because this was in my Google search too, we need to brush the crust with some egg wash. Get a nice silky exterior. And there it is. This can't miss, right? Now, time to do the impossible and cook this thing. The trick to making this pizza go into the oven is a lot of cornmeal. Like a lot. I'm talking an unreasonable amount, just to make sure it slides off the peel. It should look like we dropped the dough onto the beach. That's classy. Beach pizza. Okay, now that's in the oven, I have no idea how this is gonna cook. What we want here is a brown crust with a pink tenderloin. I refuse to elaborate. Is it done? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Let's take this gigantoid out of the oven and see what we have. Holy hell. Okay, here it is. It's like 90% crust. It's a stretch calling this a pizza. Now is the moment of truth. Let's cut into this and see how we did. Well, try to act surprised. The tenderloin's overcooked, and the mushrooms are like what you'd find in the gutter after a long winter. But maybe it tastes good, and that's the whole point. Give it a try. Huh. Nope. It's like pot roast stuffed in the crust, covered in pond scum. I hate this. I hate this. Well, if this wasn't a waste of time and money, I don't know what is. But I think I know where we went wrong. We upped the class and we were outclassed. Beef Wellington is so above my class that it's stratospheric. I still buy my socks from Walmart. That was like 5 years ago. I clip coupons for Little Caesars. They're on the back of grocery receipts. You get one free crazy bread.
Pizza, pizza.
If you take anything from this video, let that be it. I should have known. This channel isn't about class, it's about flavor. And that's what we need to focus on. If we're gonna make steak work on pizza, we can't overcomplicate it. We need to make something that's foolproof. Dare I say, something that's fool-ish. For our next pizza, I say we get back to our roots. Prioritize the flavor, make it easy, and deep fry the steak. A chicken fried steak is in order. Now this is in my wheelhouse. For chicken fried steak, you need to use cube steak, which is sirloin that's been pounded and tenderized. The Mickey Rourke of steaks. You can find these in the meat section of your grocery store. And from there it's pretty simple. You just dredge the steak in milk, plop it in flour, then plop it in egg wash, then flour again. Now we'll fry it in some oil. This oil is at a nice 360 degrees. The exact angle that represents my life every time I try to turn it around. We'll take it out when it's a nice, crispy, golden brown, and here it is. That's chicken fried all right. Cholesterol was a garbage pail kid. For the base of this pizza, we'll whip up a pepper gravy. And I'm just using a gravy mix for this. That steak came out pretty nice. I don't want to mess this up. No more tutorials for me, okay? I've ruined enough. Okay, now we'll stretch out our dough and start on our third pizza. First, we'll throw on the country-style gravy, and then we'll throw on our chicken fried steaks and top those with more gravy. I gotta tell you, this actually looks good right now. It is officially halftime on this pizza, and at this point on the last couple of pizzas we were down 48-0. Now at least it's tied. Let's not screw this up. So I don't think mozzarella is the right choice for cheese. We need a more rustic cheese. I'm thinking cheddar shredded on top. That makes more sense. And now we'll cook it. Now I know we're going for classy here, folks. And you might be asking yourself, how is this classy? Well, keep in mind, under that packet of gravy mix, under that layer of deep fried batter, there's a Kroger steak. There's class in there somewhere. Okay, ding dong, who's there? It's the old Cracker Barrel. Before I got a LinkedIn and started bragging about journaling, let's throw some parsley into the mix and start chopping it up. You can just tell by that crunch we're in for a ride. Let's give it a try. Oh my. This is fantastic. Honestly, I don't know if it makes sense, but it kinda does. It's like a portable chicken fried steak. You could drive a car while eating chicken fried steak now. Man, the possibilities of this. It'd go great at county fairs, Renaissance festivals, demolition derbies. Oh, it's not classy at all. The one pizza that's good, and when you know it, it's as classy as a can of Easy Cheese. As classy as a swimsuit t-shirt. Classy as a Facebook post from that one cousin. We went backwards. We gotta set this straight. Do something fancy that's not overcomplicated. If we pick the right ingredients and not do any wacky shenanigans, then I think we can pull this off. We need a steak that's so inherently fancy that nothing I can do will ever take away from that. An untouchable pinnacle of luxury and opulence. What I'm thinking is Japanese Wagyu. Take a look at this. A5 Japanese Wagyu. I bought this from an online retailer and I didn't know what to expect. They could have sent me a chew toy, but instead, they sent me this, with a genuine certificate of authenticity. These are details I didn't even want to know. But nothing says classy like steak that comes with paperwork.
You should receive your burgers in 6 to 8 weeks.
Let's see here.
And they say that the cattle for this type of beef is treated to a life of luxury before it becomes steak. Fed beer and massaged by geishas their whole life. I get why American cows are picketing on highways, scapegoating chicken. And you can see that the signature of Wagyu beef is its intricate marbling, which makes for a delicious and delicate flavor. Which is exactly why I don't want to overcomplicate or overcook this thing. This might be the only chance I have to try Wagyu. There's no do-overs here. So, we're gonna take some dough and do a light sprinkling of cheese and gently lay down our Wagyu, raw. And that's it. That's completely it. I'm treating this like a game of Operation or Don't Wake Daddy, a genre of board game I like to call Don't F This Up. We're gonna cook this as carefully as we can and see what we get. I think if we use a quick flame sear from a patio pizza oven, then we'll be safe. This ain't going in no Frigidaire oven. This steak cost more than my first car. I'm not putting it in where I cook Totinos. Okay, here it is. Wagyu pizza. Now that looks classy. Compare this with our first pizza. It's like comparing E.T. with its original design. Gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't want this to phone home. I want it to stay right here. Let's slice off a piece and give it a try. Jiminy Christmas. I get all the hype behind Wagyu now. It kicks your tongue in the balls with flavor. It's got more flavor per inch than this video has pixels. It's way too decadent. But in a way that's a good thing, right? This is something that hedonism bot from Futurama would like. And damn it if it isn't classy. Alright, let's take a look back now and sum things up. See what we've learned. New York strip pizza. Tough, but tasty. Kinda look like pond scum. We nuked that steak and onions into oblivion. C tier. The beef Wellington pizza. Disastrous, miserable, and completely exposed my vacancies as a YouTube chef. I felt like a child making Kool-Aid. So bottom tier. Whatever the hell that is. Z tier. The chicken fried steak pizza. It was like a raccoon in a tuxedo. The Toxic Avenger if it was played by Hugh Grant. But damn it if it wasn't delicious. A tier. And finally, the Wagyu pizza. Its design was as creative as a pet rock, but it was one of the best pizzas we've ever made. An instant classic. S tier. But here's the problem I have with tier lists. What do these letters even mean? They're not like school grades. I never got an S on a book report. One teacher wrote U-S-T-I-N-K. If only these letters were tied to some type of score. Like this. In the end, folks, we learned a valuable lesson today. Steak doesn't automatically make pizza classy, just makes it expensive and complicated. At the end of the day, pizza doesn't need to be fancy. It's perfect just the way it is. And it'll always be perfect, just as long as it's hot and ready. Till next time, folks.